it can be difficult to try to ascertain somebody else's thoughts and opinions that are on a piece of paper and how it applies to you. So we can't go, we can't just always be, comparing. So anyway, back to our clarifying our whys, like we're both people in recovery. My recovery journey, I made it look like however I needed it to look. And I literally did that from day one. I mean, I showed up in the ER like sober for detox, right? I knew I needed medical detox. I knew I needed that supervision, not supervision, but medical monitoring, right? Because my physical body, it was, dangerous to come off of benzodiazepines and alcohol. I knew I needed to be in it's the most dangerous. So I knew I needed to be in the proper facility, right? So I found a hospital that had a whole, detox floor, right? Like the whole floor. And I went there, right? But then after that, I kind of, made my own plan of action, and it, just panned out for me. But that's my why. Like it brought me to my why. And I'm so thankful for that, because now my why is walking with others. But, and I'm sure that you have a big why as to what you do and how it serves you in your recovery.
Well, I guess we were just talking about this before. The original why, if we're talking like why I got sober, was I found out my daughter was on the way. I found out my ex-girlfriend was pregnant. So that lit a fire under me to get going. And my why was very important. I needed to do this for my daughter. That was the big why, was I had to do it for my daughter. And now one of the whys that I kind of live for is still my daughter. Obviously, it's number one. It's always going to be number one. But now it's also what I do. I love reaching out to people and helping them, giving people the voice on the podcast, helping them with the steps, giving them the free literature. So my why is now, why continue on helping people? You know what I mean? So it's that's my why, is I'm going to continue on helping people. And that's really what I see as,
I like that. That's leading by an amazing example, right?
That's what I'm trying to do. That's a good way to put it. Because if I'm going to talk the talk, I better walk the walk.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I have to live what I am saying. Like I can't tell someone, oh, take a look at my program, and it's supposed to be going down the middle, and I'm over in, left or right field.
Right.
So one of the whys is living my truth.
Which means you live your truth, but you also, I would imagine, treat yourself, mind, body, spirit, the way that you want to be treated.
And that was something very hard to learn. That was something very hard to learn, to treat myself the way I want to be treated and love myself. Because when I got out of rehab, I was coming from a place of depression. So I used to have thoughts of, why don't you just go kill yourself? You're useless. You're worthless. And, it's very hard to retrain my brain to treat myself the way I want to be treated, because I didn't care how I was treated when I was in my depression and in my active addiction. But when I came out of it, I was like, I want to be okay. That was, part of my why, is I want to get better and be okay. And in order to be okay, I have to treat myself the way I want to be treated, the way I would even treat others. It's just, I guess one of the big things also is giving myself respect.
Yeah.
You have to respect yourself.
I call that seeing the way I want to be seen.
That's a great way of putting it.
if there's that way we want to be treated, but there's also that way we want to experience our environment, but there's the way that we want our environment to experience us. So, it's this kind of, connect the dots, if you will, process of, I have to see myself the way that I want to be seen, but I also have to see my environment differently if I'm going to be able to show up for that environment differently.
Well, yeah, I mean, every environment you're going to face is different, and you're going to have a different mindset when you go into doing different things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because your old way, if your old way worked, if your old way worked, we wouldn't be sitting here.
Oh yeah,
Right?
we
Like
wouldn't
if
even
our
be
old way
talking
of
right now.
coping, right? If our old way of coping worked, right? Like sorry, I usually put that on do not disturb and I forgot. If my old way worked, my old way of coping with stress, disappointment, anger, frustration, happiness, and nobody really throws that one in. And this one for me was big because it was, celebrating, right? Like I'm German, Irish, Scottish, Sicilian, right? Like when we celebrate, like there's alcohol happening, right? Like, oh, you got an award, let's celebrate, and that's just kind of been my whole life, not necessarily the alcohol, although I did start drinking when I was young. But if you look back at your conditioning, you go to the doctor, you get your first shot, you get what? A lollipop or a popsicle. Then, you fall down, you scrape your knee while mom's, cleaning it up, you get a popsicle. You get an award at school, you get ice cream. It's your birthday, you get cake and presents. And, so everything's like this celebration with external rewards. So the second you add in alcohol to something fun, that first party you go to and you pick up or whatever it is, now you've got that reward. Oh, cool. Anytime we want to celebrate, like now we're adding alcohol. And so, we have to learn how to celebrate differently, just be sad differently.
We have to unlearn a lot of the things that we've learned.
Right.
We have to unlearn those things.
Yes. And then we have to, and maybe you think differently than I do, but 30 years of conditioned way of being is not going away in 30 days. Right.
No,
so we have to be willing to continue to work on conditioning the new way of being, allowing that to continue to grow, change, more, flourish over time, but also continue to condition that. And I'm not saying it's going to take us 30 years to condition the new way of being, but I'm at 9 years, 9.5, and I'm still conditioning, right? Like it feels second nature to me. I don't walk around having cravings and, whatnot, but, I'm still getting better, improving things as I go. Like we have to, I think, have some sort of a buy-in that it's not just go to treatment and be done, or just sit in the rooms and be done. Like just showing up for a meeting it can be, I guess, enough for some, but for me, it wasn't.
I mean, you can be conditioned. It's a lifelong battle, or lifelong journey, I should say, to condition yourself, because a lot of the things you learned were from other people. And that's what the preconditioning was before. It was things you learned from other people. And some of the things might have been bad, led you to bad things. But now in recovery, we're kind of conditioning ourselves. Maybe we get help from a doctor, a therapist, or a psychologist, but we're now learning to condition ourselves to, like what you were saying before, treat ourselves better. So we're trying to now condition ourselves, and it's not easy. Like you said, it is not happening in 30 days because you have learned it over a lifetime. So you can't take something that's learned over an entire lifetime and just change it. It is it's now in you, and you have to work very hard to remove that little piece and condition yourself to be a better, more positive person.
I love that. I love that. Just something's popping into my head as far as a correlation, and I like to use this one, and I'm just kind of treading a little lightly, but I kind of liken this to some journeys of people that I work with very closely. But anyway, so we can take and we can put the bottle of booze down, right? And we can work hard to leave that bottle of booze down. A lot of times we think, okay, if I just stop drinking, it's good. As long as I'm abstinent, it's good. That can be enough for some, but let's talk about, I'm just going to throw y'all for a loop here, because a lot of times people don't think of this, but I work heavily with folks that have negative relationships with food, right? Whether that's eating disorders, food addiction, overeating, whatever that looks like, right? People that struggle in this area, we lead by a good example, because it has to be so much more than just putting it down. And why is that? Because you can't put down food. You have to eat food every day. So you literally have to change your relationship with your addiction. You have to change your entire relationship with that. And so if everybody, regardless of what the addiction was, thought of it in that fashion, like not to say, oh, let's figure out how I can continue to use. I'm not saying that, but put the same heart and soul in changing your relationship with why you feel the need for something outside of you to bring you peace, joy, comfort, relief, value, validity, worthiness. I don't know, right?
Oh.
Like, if
You need to find that
just
within yourself.
Yeah, that's clarifying your why. Why do I need this? Why do I desire this?
Yep.